The first thing Liam registered was not the morning light, nor the faint city hum outside his window, but a relentless vibration from his nightstand. His phone, usually quiet until his alarm chimed, was practically dancing. He reached for it, groggy, blinking sleep from his eyes, and pulled it closer. The screen, vibrant and intrusive, revealed a deluge of notifications. Not texts, not emails, but hundreds, perhaps thousands, of new photos in his gallery. He tapped the icon and his thumb hovered. What greeted him was a cascade of faces, all undeniably his own. But these weren't selfies he remembered taking. These were pictures of him sound asleep in his bed from various angles. Some close-ups, some wider shots, capturing his room in the background. His breath hitched. Each photo was time-stamped meticulously throughout the night. One at 1:17 a.m., another at 1:35 a.m., then 2:02 a.m., 2:15 a.m., all the way until just moments before he woke up. A cold dread began to seep into his bones, far more chilling than the morning air. His apartment was secure. He lived on the 3rd floor. His windows were locked, the deadbolt on his door engaged. He checked it meticulously, as he always did before retiring last night. He slid out of bed, the photos still flashing in his mind, and walked to the front door. The deadbolt was still thrown. The chain was still on. His windows remained latched. There was no sign of forced entry. Nothing was out of place. Yet, someone or something had been in his room, taking these intimate, unsettling snapshots. He walked back to his bed, picked up his phone, and continued scrolling. The timestamps drew closer to dawn, the images becoming more distinct. And then, among the still photos, there was a video, a short clip timestamped 6:43 a.m. He pressed play, his heart now a frantic drum against his ribs. The video showed him lying perfectly still, eyes closed in what looked like deep slumber. The camera was steady, positioned just above his face. He watched himself breathe, the soft rise of his chest. And then something happened that made him gasp. In the video, his sleeping face subtly, slowly began to form a smile. A gentle, almost serene smile. His eyes remained closed for a moment longer, the smile widening before they fluttered open, directly into the camera. He looked right at himself watching the video, a knowing, unsettling glint in those filmed eyes. Then the video ended. Liam stared at his phone, his own eyes wide with a confusion that bordered on panic. He never smiled in his sleep, not like that. And he certainly hadn't woken up to stare into his phone. He remembered nothing of it, nothing. He swore he hadn't moved. He swore he had been asleep the entire night, a deep, dreamless sleep. He needed to see himself, to confirm his own reflection, his own expression. He stood up, the phone still clutched in his hand, and walked, almost stumbled, into his small bathroom. The fluorescent light hummed, casting a pale glow on the mirror above the sink. He looked at his reflection. His face was pale, his eyes still holding the residue of sleep and a fresh layer of fear. He watched himself, breathing deeply, trying to calm the tremor in his hands. And then he saw it, a faint, almost imperceptible curve on the lips of his reflection. It wasn't the terror-stricken face he expected to see. It was a smile. The very same gentle, knowing smile he had just witnessed in the video. His heart seemed to stop. He felt a wave of nausea. He took a small step back, his eyes fixed on the mirror, on the smiling reflection of himself. And then the reflection raised its hand. Slowly, deliberately, its fingers extended, and it waved. A casual, almost friendly wave. But Liam, his real self, stood frozen. He hadn't moved a muscle. His hand remained clenched around his phone, pressed against his thigh. He hadn't raised it. He hadn't waved. The reflection continued to smile, its hand still held in that casual salute. Liam couldn't move, he couldn't scream, he couldn't even blink. But then, as if an invisible force compelled him, he did blink. And the world shifted. The bathroom, once solid and real around him, blurred into a distorted mess of light and shadow. The sounds of the city, the hum of the light, all seemed to recede, muffled and distant. He felt a sickening lurch, like he'd fallen from a great height, yet he hadn't moved from the spot. When his eyes snapped open again, the bathroom was still there, but it was different. He was still in the bathroom, yes, but he was looking out from the mirror. On the other side of the glass, a figure stood. It was him. His face, his clothes, even the phone clutched in at hand. But his expression was no longer one of fear or confusion. It was still smiling, that faint, knowing smile. And his hand was still raised, waving. It was his reflection, now standing in his bathroom, looking back at him. The glass felt cold against his front, invisible but undeniably present. I tried to move, to step back, to raise my own hand, but it was as if my body had turned to lead. I was anchored to the glass, my entire being pressed against this invisible barrier. The world outside, my world, looked perfectly normal, yet utterly inverted. What was left became right, and right became left. I watched as my other self, the one that was now out there, slowly lowered its hand. It turned its head just slightly, its eyes still holding that unsettling, calm expression. It turned away from the mirror, from him, and walked out of the bathroom. I heard his footsteps, muffled and indistinct, fading away. It has been hours now, perhaps days. Time here, behind the glass, seems to warp and stretch. I am still here, staring out from the mirror. I see snippets of my life, his life, played out in reverse. The light from my window shifts, the outside world changes, but I remain trapped. My voice, if I could even find it, would make no sound. My touch would be felt by no one. It's a peculiar feeling, observing your own life from a place of utter helplessness. To watch someone else inhabit your form, sleep in your bed, use your things, and interact with the world you once called your own. I see my reflection, him, occasionally pass by the mirror, a brief glance, a faint smile. He lives my life, and I am here, in a silent, reversed world, staring out. What truly happened that morning remains a chilling enigma. Was it a moment of extreme sleepwalking, captured by a self-aware phone? Or was it something far more ancient, a breach between worlds, a soul exchanged with its mirrored twin? I am just a whisper now, a trapped consciousness, a silent observer of a life that once was mine. Perhaps you've had an unexplainable moment, a strange encounter that defies logic. Or perhaps this story simply stirred a quiet thought within you. Whatever it may be, I invite you to share your reflections, your theories, or even your feelings about this tale in the comments below. Your perspective is always deeply appreciated. And if you'd like to hear more stories of the peculiar and the unknown, consider following for our next exploration into the unknown.